All right, hey, welcome back to the Sloppy Modeler. Welcome back to the show, and welcome to the build log, technically build log number 1 on the USS Defiant 1/420th scale. Welcome to the show. We're happy to have you here. And if you do like what you see during the process of this build, I'd appreciate it if you could give me a like, maybe a subscription, and watch me go through the build process here. So we've spent a little bit of time doing some body work and some primering. This is the first coat of black on the inside for light blocking, and this is the Stynel Res black, and for some reason it's got a nice gloss to it, but we're going to do another coat of black and then a coat of white on the interior of this. The other thing, I started my first coat of primer. I'll probably switch to a gray primer next. I was just again trying to light block these areas where there's going to be like light boxes under there with the concentrated portion of light coming through. But the other thing we've really been working on is this section right here, here where you can see the black primer on the outside. That is where these pieces fit, butt up against each other. And what I've done is I've taken a coat of this Mr. White Putty from Mr. Hobby. It's really quite nice, easy to stand, and it seems to be fairly dimensionally stable once you put it in there. And then I just went through with my files and did the first sanding, my little sanding block here, and then some other sandpaper, just to get a rough in, if you will. So, and that's exactly what we've got. So we've got some lines here. We've got the most work is probably up on this one here, which has a line in it. So we'll have to sand on this to do some more fill and go from there. But yeah, this is just to get started. We will have some more shortly, but just to kind of give you an idea. I've also glued in these supports here. And once we get the light blocking done, then the next thing to do is to go in and build a support for the LEDs that are going to push back that way. And of course we do have our lights that are going to go onto here like so for the engines. Making progress, and we'll be back shortly. Thank you. All right, hey, welcome back to the Sloppy Modeler. Welcome back to the USS Defiant, the 1 to 420th scale Defiant, and we are in the midst of sloppy, but it's good stuff. First of all, we are still in the hangar bay photo etch world, and a couple of quick things we'll talk about that you may have a challenge with, if I can find it all. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about, sloppy, when it comes to this stuff, right? I can't really put my eyes on it. Oh, there we go, found it. All right, so this is the HDA Model Works Shuttle Bay decal sheet, and supposedly water slide decals. And I had a significant, this is from Green Strawberry, significant challenge with even the first 3 or 4 that I tried with hot water. As soon as they detached from the backing sheet, they would curl up. I couldn't get anything on those to stick, to lay flat at all. So what I did is I put that into the scanner, and I didn't like this gray. So I put that into the scanner, did a high resolution 1200 DPI scan of that, and then printed it out on my, and changed the color tone from this gray to blue, and then printed out 2 copies of that onto a 8.5 by 5.5 inch water slide inkjet piece of paper, and this is what I came up with. And since I was going to use the whole sheet, I decided to go ahead and print 2 copies of it. I didn't know how much I was going to need. But I really like this blue. I think it turned out dynamite. There is some challenge with some of the yellow, was a little hard to read, but these are so small that I'm not worried about it. And so we put some decals on, but that was the first thing that was a big challenge in that regard to the decals. The next thing is photo etch, and I have bent up the ladders. They actually turned out really nice. We'll see if we can get one here. Just need to get them stuck on, but that's the photo etch of ladder number 9. And using my jig here, I was able to fold that up, and it turned out really pretty decent. And then I was able to fold up these pieces here that go into the hangar bay, or make the hangar bay doors. So you'll see those come together here shortly. Just a lot of pieces in the works right now. Most of the rest of the hangar bays, especially the side hangar bays, are in paint right now, but I have completed the paint for the bottom 2 hangar bays. So the way that these go together is that they kind of double stack on each other. So this one goes into this piece here. Let's see if I can get this correct. Yeah, so this sits up, and again, the decals turned out really nice. I'm very pleased with the way that those turned out. These actually turn upside down, and they do fit into that resin really nice, really nice. And they are a great fit. So the green strawberry resin, very nice. Now I do have to repaint this top because that gets a red guardrail around it, and then the secondary piece fits on top like so. And again, the resin fits really nice, but you can see in here that you're going to have that white deck is going to be open, and then there are a couple of worker bees, which we've got right here, and then we've got our large format shuttles, which there's 3 of those, and those have a set of decals that go on them. And then what I did do is I painted this up. The decals are on the inside of that, as you can see, and then this is just black panel line. I don't know if you can see that or not, but black panel lines right inside there. And then I just painted these yellow, safety yellow, for the interior there. I must say I'm very excited with the way that this is turning out. What I am not happy about is that as soon as it goes into the shuttle bay, you're going to see about 10% of that through the doors, but that's all right. The next step that I've got is I'm going to take, it doesn't call for it in the instructions, but I'm going to take a piece of real thin fiberboard, maybe even something like that, and cover the top of that and light block it, and then put some lights in it. I think there's room for a 5mm LED right there, and I might do that. I might not. I might put a soft white in there. We shall see, because it's not going to be lit up with anything else. But I'm pretty excited about the way that that is turning out. So that is the shuttle bay. The other shuttle bays, again, like I said, are in paint, and then we've got the photo etch pieces that go on top of it. And this is what cracks me up. This photo etch, really nice. Except, you know, you go to all this work and then they want you to put these covers on, but those are optional, and I'm not going to be using the covers. I'm not going to do that. That is going to be it at the moment. When we come back, we'll have some more of these details done. Thanks. Okay, continuing on with the USS Defiant from AMT in the 1/420th scale. We have got a lot of progress here, and we'll walk through quite a bit of it. This is a lot of fun. This is a very cool kit. It's so much nicer to be able to work in large areas compared to what I'm normally used to. So this is the upper hull, as you can see, and essentially what we've got here is we have the lights in for the registry, the anti-collision beacon, the 2 side by side on the bridge here to light up the bridge area. We've got our 2 starboard side green navigation lights, our 2 port side red navigation lights, and then 2 more of the blinking anti-collision lights here in the back. And those have been covered over with a with the solar res, and given a little bit of a mounding dome over the top of them. So that is very, very cool, very exciting on that stuff. And I think we're gonna see a lot of nice lighting here. Additional lighting that needs to go into the shed, of course, we have to build light boxes that are going to go over the chiller grills, light boxes that are a light box, maybe just one that will go over the impulse engine deck, if you will. I got to build a light box for the exhaust over here, which will be glowing red, and then I have to build a light box here and here for the Bassard collector, just something so I can mount. I have some of this cob lighting here in red, and I'm not sure if I'm going to need it. I might just do white. Basically, I just want to put up a piece of styrene that I can have that just kind of like that back a little bit, and I can diffuse it with some cotton between there, or fiber fill between that piece. After I put the solar res on and let that sit, then I went with, of course, my 3D fabric paint. And the nice thing is that that's a very thick, heavy-bodied paint, and it kind of glues or dries rubbery, but it really blocks the light. So I've got here just a little watch battery, 3-volt watch battery, and if we light up, I'm just going to do the one here. If we light the one up, one of the anti-collision lights up, get it to cooperate. There we go. From the top, that's just 3 volt. That's going to be nice and bright. When it's from the underside, that's really what I want to show you using that paint, using that fabric paint. Yeah, from the underside, you can't see it. That's lit up, and you can't see anything coming through. And that's crucial for a blinking light, because otherwise it'll bleed through into your other lights there. So the top portion has got, still has its work cut out for it, but we are making some decent progress on that. Lower hull, we are, seems like not much has been done, but actually it has. On the lower hull, we have we've drilled our hole for where our power support is going to go in. I need to fill this seam here and get it sanded, but basically this was a very thick piece of plastic styrene that went down into a trench, and then it makes that extra thick. And then I added 2 1.5 mil thick pieces of styrene on top of that right there. You maybe can see the thickness. 2 pieces of that glued together, and because I am drilling through with those lights, I want to have red lights that are underneath there. I think you can see that lights up. I'm going to have 2 red lights that are going to go into there. So what I have to do on that is drill through those 2 holes one more time with my drill, and then I'm going to take one more piece of styrene, not this one, but another piece of styrene, put it over the top, drill a 3mm hole for each of those areas there, so that can be lit up and mounted, and then a little tiny hole where my wiring can pass through. Now, what I'm using for my mount, this is a really nice 3/8 piece of aluminum. That's nothing more than aluminum drinking straw, and but it's anodized blue with the blue overtones that this is going to have. I think that's going to be very, very cool. This is going to fit up into there, something like that, and that will be supported with a much stronger piece. I'm going to cut it down, but that should be supported with a really nice rod there, actually a tube. So, and in the back here we've got our red and green nav lights that have been recessed into the area and then covered over again with our solar res. And the solar res cures with just a standard UV light. You just shine it over there for about 10 to 15 seconds. That cures out and you're off and running. That solar res is pretty expensive though. It's not inexpensive at all. On the lower hull, of course, we've got a couple of coats of black primer and then a coat of white paint to bounce that light around in there. But what that has done, it's also given us our area for the shuttle bays. And we've cut those out. I think you can see the area there where that has been cut out. And it looks kind of like that. And these go in, because of this angle, these go in very specifically. And you have to imagine that that is upside down. And with that corner angle, or that acute angle, you actually just will be able to glue that right to that. And then when you would look from the bottom, that makes for a parallel to the ground place for those hangers to go in. Now, those hangers are a ton of work for not a ton of payback. I don't even know if you can see it in there, maybe, maybe not, but there is just a number 2 and a couple of little bit of graphics that are going there. But this shelf here blocks most of everything. And I think what I'm going to do, this is designed, I want that to be seen, but these are the doors that go over that area. And rather than block all that off, I think what I'm going to do is I'll cut that door down to where it only comes up halfway, and you would see the one landing deck in there for the shuttles. And this is kind of what the shuttles look like. This one is far too big to go in there. Here's the little tiny ones that you know, just fit inside of there like so. And those have yet to get decaled and put in place. But there are 2 shuttle bays, one for each side. And like I said, they just kind of slide right in, slot right in against there. And then from the outside, once you've got it slotted in, from the outside, there'll be a piece of photo etch that goes over that entryway right there. So there's some more work to be done on the shuttle bays, but making good progress with that. So that is the lower hull. I showed you the little tiny. Space shuttles, and those get some additional decals. Some of these little tiny stripes, like right here, go onto those, and some other pieces. So we're having fun with the decaling. I had to go out and get some more microset to make that happen. Small port and starboard side shuttle bays. The main shuttle bay is right here, and I'll give you the best look at it that I can. Got the photo etch brass ladders that go you know, from top to bottom. It's got the red, I put the red safety railing around there. There's decals that go inside of that you can see. I painted some of the things safety yellow. Here's some more of the decals that go into that. Painted these a silver color for the boxes or tubes, whatever you want to call them. The unfortunate or sad thing is that when this is in the ship, that is about all you're going to see right there. So this is more a labor of, hey, I did it for me, because no one is hardly ever going to be able to see that. This bottom piece fits into the lower hull like so, and that actually fits really nice. Here's your doors that are going to close over that, and then you've got your photo etch brass that goes here, and then you'll be able to paint that up. But like I said, for the most part, you're not going to be able to see much of that whatsoever once it's in place. It's just not. Okay, back with you on the shuttle bay. I just cut this. This is a really, really fine piece of styrene. I don't even know, it's like maybe a ½ mil thick, if that, but it really passes light through pretty nicely. So my intent is to put this, glue this over the top, and then from the bottom, when you're looking in, you will see just a really nice clouded light. And I think that there's enough light that's going to be put into the bottom of that hull that or the top that you should be, but if not, I can always put a couple of pieces right over the top of it and call it good. So that is the shuttle bay, and that is 100% done. And as I mentioned, that goes in there, and that's a nice decal on the bottom of that where the doors would actually close. But again, you're never going to see any of that from underneath, except if you really work at it. Okay. This is the front bottom section of the torpedo bay, and what I've got in here is I do have my one blinking light. This is going to be an anti-collision light for the bottom, and that has turned out really nice. I think that's going to be a great flashing anti-collision beacon when that goes in. Again, same process, drill the hole, put the little 0402 light in there, and then cover that over with the solar. But you can see, I think, how nice of a dome that got put over that thing right there. So that is done and in the works. We've talked about the warp engines before, and I've got two little dilemmas that I have to work through. The first one is there was not enough light that was coming through this reflector or diffuser to really light that bay up the way that I want it to. So what I have done is behind some of these areas here, like behind that and then behind that protrusion there, I drilled a couple of holes and then I added let's see if I can get this to light up here real quick, blue SMDs behind there. So I want to light these up at least on the one so that you can see it, and I think it makes a huge difference for the quality of the blue light that is needed to make those warp engines look like warp engines, quite honestly, right? So I can take this. This is the positive, and there aren't any resistors on any of this. That's why I'm using just this 3-volt watch battery. Otherwise, I would be popping. LEDs left and right. So you can see that adds a very cool glow behind all of this. It's self-diffusing because it's blocked from the regular light. And once you get a black panel over the top of that, as a matter of fact, I've got a black panel right here. I don't know if it's the right one, but we'll see. There we go. And one more time with the lighting. There's my positive. There's my negative. Yeah, you can really see the effect that you're going to see, especially then finally with lighting up that blue piece as well. So that's one fix for getting enough blue light into that. Those are little blue SMDs in there. The other fixed problem that I've got to do yet is there's some light blocking issues right at the edge where this connects, where that connects with the resin piece. So I think what I'm going to do is grab my tape, and this is probably right at the right width. Grab my tape. Yeah, this is absolutely perfect. And I'm going to tape off the blue section like so. And then this is Folk Art, just craft paint, 479 pure black, but it's a matte acrylic paint, and it's got a real heavy body to it. And basically it's really super black, and it's super thick. You can see how thick it is. It hardly even comes out of the jar. There we go. Yeah, you can see how much body that has. And then I will take a brush and hopefully go right down both sides of that and filling that in as well as I can with black paint. And hopefully that'll give me the light blocking where you only see the blue coming through it. Now that's very picky on my part. I think for the most part, most people would never see it, but I see a white crevasse there that I don't want to have to deal with. One more little coat here. Again, this is all hidden inside once you're there. Once you've got it closed up. And now, yeah, significantly different that we're not seeing the white light come up on behind that. Just the blue is coming through. So that's what I've got to do for the other two sides on this and for all three sides on that. So those are almost complete. And then what I'll do is wire up a piece of my cob lighting. I'm only going to use one strip, and that's going to go face down right into that light. And that light is really quite bright. And I know this is a long update, folks, but it's been a bit, and I'm really trying to bring you guys up to speed. I've been working on so many different pieces that I've kind of left you guys in the lurch as far as what progress has been made and what hasn't. So that's cob lighting, and then if we put that on the back of that, I think you can see that that really is going to give us enough light. I don't need to do, I might do one on each side, just really brighten that up, but I might be able to get away with just one, so we'll have to see as we go. But even that looks really nice with that cob lighting behind, the blue resin. All right, still making more progress here. So that is the warp drive engines. Now, the